There's something most people move through life without ever being shown. And once you notice it, you start to see it everywhere. In conversations, in relationships, in the way people react to things they don't fully understand. Even in yourself, if you're being honest. It's this quiet absence of ever really stopping and checking in with yourself. Not just thinking, not overanalyzing, not running through problems in your head, while you're doing 10 other things at the same time. I mean actually stopping and sitting with your own life for a moment. And when you really think about it, it's strange, isn't it? We're taught so many things growing up. How to read, how to write, how to pass exams, how to behave in certain environments. But no one really teaches you how to sit with yourself. How to ask yourself, how am I actually doing? Does this feel right for me? Why did I react like that? Is this the life I want to be living? And without that, something very subtle happens. You can live your whole life on the surface of it, moving forward, doing what's expected, handling things as they come, but never really understanding what's going on underneath. Not because you don't care, but because you were never shown how to look. And over time, that disconnect builds. Not in a loud way, just quietly. You start to feel slightly off, slightly disconnected, like something isn't quite sitting right. But you can't fully explain why. And most people don't stop there. They keep going. They adjust things around them, change routines, change environments, try new things, hoping something external will fix what feels internal. But if there's no moment where you actually sit down with yourself and gently ask, what's really going on here? Nothing fully shifts. Because real change doesn't begin on the outside. It begins in that quiet space where you're finally willing to look inward. And this is the part that matters most. Self-reflection is not something people avoid because they're lazy. They avoid it because it can feel uncomfortable. Because when everything gets quiet, you're left with yourself. And that means noticing things you might not have wanted to notice before. Patterns, habits, reactions, ways of thinking that maybe don't feel as aligned as you once thought they did. And that can feel exposing. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way that overwhelms you all at once, just in a quiet, honest way. Like holding a mirror up to parts of your life you haven't really looked at properly. And for a lot of people, that's enough to make them turn away. Not because they're weak, but because they don't know how to sit in that space without judging themselves. And this is where everything changes. Because self-reflection is not about tearing yourself apart. It's not about sitting there and listing everything that's wrong. It's not about being harsh or critical or expecting yourself to have all the answers. That's not reflection. That's self-attack. And when you attack yourself, you don't become more aware. You shut down, you close off. Because it doesn't feel safe to look. So instead, you avoid it. Or you distract yourself again. Or you convince yourself it's not that important. But real self-reflection, the kind that actually helps you grow, feels completely different. It's quieter than that. It's softer. It's more like sitting with yourself the way you would sit with someone you care about. And this is where something very important comes in. Something that changes the entire experience. You have to treat yourself like you would treat a small, innocent child. Not in a patronizing way, in a caring way. Because if a child came to you, confused about something they'd done, or upset about how they reacted, you wouldn't respond with harshness. You wouldn't say, what's wrong with you? You wouldn't expect them to have everything figured out. You'd soften, you'd listen. You'd try to understand what's underneath the reaction. And most importantly, you'd make it feel safe for them to be honest. That's exactly what self-reflection needs to feel like. Because honesty only comes when it feels safe. And if you're harsh with yourself, you don't get honesty. You get avoidance. You get defensiveness. You get surface-level answers that don't actually change anything. But when you approach yourself with curiosity and kindness, something opens. You start to notice things more clearly, not in a way that feels overwhelming, but in a way that feels understandable. You begin to see patterns. Why certain situations affect you more than others. Why you react in ways you don't always intend to. Why some parts of your life feel aligned and others feel slightly off. And instead of judging those things, you start to understand them. And that understanding is what creates change. Not pressure, not force, just awareness. Because once you see something clearly, you naturally begin to adjust. Not all at once, not in some big dramatic shift, but in small, meaningful ways. You pause before reacting. You notice when something doesn't feel right, and instead of ignoring it, you acknowledge it. You begin to make slightly different choices. And those small shifts, over time, start to reshape your life. This is another part people often misunderstand. They think change has to be big, that it has to look like a complete transformation. But most real change happens quietly, through small readjustments. A different response here, a more honest moment there, a decision to listen to yourself instead of overriding what you feel. And over time, those small choices add up, until one day, your life feels different. Not because you forced it to be, but because you actually listened to yourself along the way. And this is where something deeper begins to form: self-trust. Not the kind that comes from confidence on the outside, but the kind that comes from knowing you've been honest with yourself. You've checked in, you've listened, you've adjusted when something didn't feel right. And because of that, you feel more steady, more grounded, more connected to your own life. And the truth is, this isn't something you do once. It's not something you tick off and move on from. It's a relationship with yourself. And like any relationship, it needs attention. Not constant analysis, not overthinking every detail, just regular, quiet moments where you check in, where you ask, how am I really doing? And you're willing to hear the answer, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it means acknowledging something needs to change. Because if you're not honest with yourself, you can't grow. Not in a way that lasts, and not in a way that actually feels right for you. So if sitting in silence feels difficult, if self-reflection feels unfamiliar, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means this is something you were never taught, and now you're learning it, gently, in your own way, at your own pace, and that alone is something to be proud of. Because choosing to understand yourself instead of avoiding yourself is one of the most caring things you can do. Not just for who you are now, but for the life you're building from here. As always, this has been Valkyrie. Thanks for stopping by. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others. Lanterns up, people.